through 60 games. So it's important to take a look at the context, right? Let's put this in context. Like it feels like the world is on fire, right? And the stars are falling out of the sky. Planets are colliding. I get it. There's a black hole on the horizon. I get it. But through 60 games in 2023, we're 30 and 30. That's not clear. 258 runs scored, 270 runs allowed. We're giving up the long ball at a horrific pace, the most in the majors. In 2022, we were 39-21. We'd scored 306 runs and we allowed 238, okay? So in terms of run differential, yeah, that's a big difference. In terms of record, we're 9 games off the pace. Now, if you take a look over that 60-game span, there are probably 9 games that you think to yourself, well, the 2022 team would have won those games. They would have come back. They would have had a come from behind victory. The ball would have bounced their way. Things would have gone in their favor. I'm sure if you look at the first 60 games in 2022, there were probably 9 games where you think they could have potentially lost that. So that's one way to spin zone it. In 2021, we were 35 and 25. We'd scored 233 runs, but we only allowed 211. So again, that's a case of, well, the pitching was there. The bats just weren't. 2020, which was the COVID shortened season where we only played 60 games, we finished 26 and 34, 286 runs scored and 308 runs allowed. That's when we had friggin' Michael Wacha and Rick Porcello as like our starting pitchers. So yeah, that was a problem. That was an issue. Luckily, our pitching is not as poor as it was in 2020, nor is it as bad as it's been. It hasn't been as poor as it was in 2019 when we started 28 and 32, scoring 273 runs and allowing 300 runs. I can go back through 2018, 2017, 2016, 2015 if you want. 2015, we went to the World Series and won, no big deal. 31 and 29. We're one win off that pace. And that, again, low scoring season. 2016, another low scoring season with 34 and 26. We actually had a better record after 60 games in 2016 than we did in 2015, even though we scored less runs. 2017, 2018, 6 games below 500 in each of those seasons. So 60 games. I think people are saying it's not that small a sample size, but unlike 2020, we're still in the playoff hunt. 2020 is like, well, so that's it. Okay, we didn't make the playoffs. Wow, 60 games. And we thought Dom Smith was the next Barry Bonds. So I'm still firmly entrenched in my position, in my stance, that it's, I would not count out the Phillies. The Phillies might have looked like hot garbage against us, when we swept them, but it's like stranger things have happened and they get hot at the right time. Do you think Miami is going to be playing at this clip for the whole season? Crazy that the Braves had the best record in baseball. They've been 5-5 in their last 10. We've been 5-5 in our last 10. Dodgers have been 4-6 in their last 10, and they're finally tied with the Diamondbacks, who are 6-4 in their last 10. So it's like, you win some, you lose some. But this is the most volatile of weeks in Mets baseball when you can sweep and get swept. I think I was, for sure riding high, after that Phillies series, because I thought coming off the Rockies series, you're thinking, oh boy, like maybe we don't have it. The fact that we just cannot beat the friggin' Rockies, who are almost 10 games under 500 and 9.5 out of first. It's just, I don't know what the Rockies, what kind of like voodoo doll they got going on in their dugout, but they have our number. The Padres, you think about, and payroll. I think that's a huge part of this, right? Is like, and you've probably been shouting that for the past 5-10 minutes, is like, but our payroll. And it's like, yeah, it's just it's the price like of New York sports. Shit just costs more here. Believe me. I've lived in the area for so friggin' long. Everything just costs so much more, including players and coaches and managers and everything and anything under the sun. This is not Milwaukee. Okay. We just pay top dollar because that's what the market is in New York. And we just weren't used to that with the Wilpons, where it's like we should have been the top payroll, but we weren't because XYZ. Or we had a high payroll, but we're paying like guys that for sure are over the hill and don't deserve it. Again, reserving judgment on Verlander and Scherzer because I think they've shown me enough so far to kind of quell my fears a little bit. But, you look at our season stats, and I don't know that they've dramatically improved from the last time we looked at our season stats. We're still below average in pretty much almost every category except defense. We just don't commit errors, which is great. We lead the league we have the fewest errors in the league. But everything else, we're in the 20th. I think home runs, right? That was an issue for us. And then we went home run goddamn crazy. Or I think it was like 15 straight games with the home run, which was a club record, I want to say. Franchise record. I don't know about franchise record, but it seems like that 15 straight games of the home run is a lot. Still like to see more stolen bases. We're not having, under 8 hits per game. Slugging percentage is 20th. So even though we are hitting more home runs, it's like, where are the doubles? Where are the triples? Where are the doubles? Where are the triples? Seems like the only guy hitting triples is Nimmo. And I mean, McNeil, I feel like, and Marte and Canna were doubles machines last year. They're not hitting doubles this year. A lot of singles. Vogie is just not, he's just walking. So Daniel Vogelback had a pretty rough May. I think he hit under 200, like 170 something for the month of May. So large reason why they brought up Vientos. Those numbers have to improve. But you look at those numbers, and if I told you those numbers, would you have guessed we're 500, 30 and 30 after 60? No, you would be like, oh, we got to be at least 5-10 games under 500 with those kind of statistics. But I say this to you because I had someone comment on my last video about Lindor and how about the comments about Lindor not being a leader and how the Mets lack leadership and pointing to that as the reason why we're in the funk that we are. And it's like, well, we did bring in Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander as leadership, but understandably, they are the leadership for the pitching staff. Most notably the starting rotation. They don't really hang in the bullpen. David Robertson is a veteran, older guy. Bring him in along with Ottavino, and that duo brings a form of leadership to the bullpen. That being said, the bullpen outside of maybe Rayleigh, Ottavino, Robertson has been shaky. Drew Smith is a flip of the coin. Maybe you could say Jeff Brigham has been okay. I think his ERA is a little under 4, which isn't great, but it's better than most of the other guys we got trotting out there. So I'd say, as we have if we can kind of hover around 500 entering the trade deadline and then make a move for a bullpen arm. I know we just traded for a bullpen arm. It's not a guy that's probably going to make an immediate impact, but this guy, Vinny Natoli, right-handed reliever from the Cubs. He was in limbo after opting out of his minor league contract and will go on the Mets 40-man roster, but can be optioned. It's not known what we gave up for him to the Cubs, but in 20 2/3 innings in the AAA Iowa, he's posted a 3.48 ERA. Not exactly a panty dropper, but who knows? Fresh new location, change of location can do a man good. So maybe Vinny Natoli can come in and make a difference. But odds are it's not going to be like move the needle that much.